Who are the perfectionists in the zodiac? The very first one that comes to my mind is Gemini and then Libra. Those are the two primary perfectionists in the zodiac. Now, we all have our areas of perfectionism. And, for a long time, I thought that I was not a perfectionist. And then I started getting really anal about what I was creating. Like I used to write my blogs, create my little publications, and I would not even do spell check. That's how much of a perfectionist I was not. And I prided myself on that. For me, it was always done is better than perfect. And I don't care if there are mistakes in this thing. People are going to read it anyway, as long as it's written well and they can understand what I mean without a lot of trouble. Like I can write and I can spell, but if it had your instead of your, then I didn't care. So I was very loose. But then something happened with me in that I really started, well, once I got a certain number of things established in my business, then I became a perfectionist. And then I ran into trouble. Okay. So, are you a perfectionist, my friend? How does perfectionism show up in your coaching business? Let me know in the comments. If you're watching me live, please type hashtag live. And if you're watching the replay, please type hashtag replay in the comments. Today, I'm going to show you how to turn your perfectionism into profit, because I'm not mad at perfectionism, but I'm kind of mad at perfectionism. So when I started becoming a perfectionist in my business, it kind of came at a time when I looked at my work and I thought, you need to treat your work better than what you're treating your work. You need to treat this work like it matters. And that's when I started really amping up perfectionism. Now, I'm not mad at that. And here's why. Here's why I'm going to say it's okay for me to be a perfectionist, but it's not okay for you to be a perfectionist. Being a perfectionist for me, I'm still going to get the work done and I'm still going to move forward, because what I do is I say, here's the job that needs to be done, and then here's the time I'm going to get it done in. And I'm not pushing back the timeline no matter what. So my perfectionism is manageable, and I'm not even sure if I'm a perfectionist, okay? I'm somebody who just wants things done at a level of excellence. I'm also very, very, very experienced with doing the things that I need to do. So when I go out to get something done, it doesn't take me all day. I'm also not somebody who is going to listen to the voice in my head that says, this isn't good enough, this isn't good enough. I'm going to be I'm going to be done when I'm done. Now, I don't think I'm a perfectionist, but I think you are. And I'm talking to you if you are somebody who won't start. You never start. You're trying to get all your ducks in a row before you even start. You're someone who is you are trying to, like, I don't want to keep saying the same thing, but there are a lot of images in my head. So I have a friend who does things very well. She does things very well. I don't know that she does things better than I do. We both have a blog. Our blogs both have pictures. The difference is that my blog is done. Like my blog is up to date and complete every day. Her blog has 2 posts on it. My blog has 400 posts on it. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. That's perfectionism, and that's bad. When you won't let yourself get something done. You can be, and I'm going to use that extreme example. You could be a perfectionist. You say you want to become a life coach, but you never actually start your life coaching business. You go get one certification, then you go get another certification, and then you go get another certification, and then you learn this healing technique, and then you learn that method of building a business. I have one of those in my broad cohort. She's not my coaching client, but she's one of my students who's a little bit on the periphery. And she comes to one of my group classes. She's working with another company for her coaching, but she comes to me also. She likes to get education from all the people. Virgos. Virgos are the third most perfectionistic in the zodiac. She's a Virgo. Virgos, y'all don't like to start until things are perfect. And you all analyze and analyze and analyze. And that is not going to get the job done. And I know so many Virgos who don't take off, they don't launch. They might start, but they don't really get in there. And here's the thing with perfectionism. It won't let you reach your next level of success. And I'm so sorry. I don't want that for you. I don't want you to be stuck in, um, I don't want you to be stuck, period, full stop. So the problem with perfectionism in a coaching business, it's like from the inside, it doesn't really look like it's a problem. It looks like you have high standards. It looks like you care deeply about the quality of what goes into what you put out into the world. It can look responsible. It can look professional. It can look like you are driven by integrity. But because it looks like all of these things, you don't necessarily examine yourself. You don't examine yourself. And it becomes very, very costly because your offers are excellent, or they're going to be excellent when you're done, but they're not ever going to get launched. Your content is going to be great when it gets done, but it's not ever going to be published. You're going to be a great coach when you finally put yourself out there, but then you're going to be all old and tired, and you're going to like not even know what you're doing anymore because you went to get your coaching certification 3 years ago and you haven't put yourself out there to actually use it, which is where you get the real growth. You get the real growth by going out there and working in real time without your ducks in a row. I can guarantee you that the person who goes through a year of coaching and then plans for 2 years is a lot further behind than the person who went through their coaching certification and then just launched themselves out there and just did it. 3 years later, both of them are 3 years older, but the one who's out there actually doing it, making mistakes, trying things on, that's a badass coach. And that's the one I want to be working with. 3 years experience, both of them, but one actually has real hands-on experience, lived experience, and the other has been just hiding, right? If I'm calling you out, will you please drop me some love in the comments? I say that there is a fear underneath perfectionism, and it has nothing to do with your work. It's not fear of your work being seen. It's more about what the work's imperfection reveals about the woman who made it, that she's not as good as she claims to be, that she's not ready. It's like, the confidence that you're projecting is not actually warranted. And I hear you on this. I hear you on this. But this isn't really about like quality control. It's more about identity protection. And there's a difference. Quality control is about understanding the quality of your products. I'm very much about understanding the quality of my products and delivering my products with a certain standard. Here's the thing. I don't listen to I don't listen to feedback from outside of myself. So when somebody criticizes me, I'm barely listening. I'm like, oh, okay. If it gets in, then I'll listen to that. But people's critiques from the outside, like somebody saying something stupid, like your name, the name of your business is pretty harsh. You should probably change that. What am I going to do? Listen to that? Am I going to take that seriously? No. And there's so many stupid people out there. No, I'm not going to listen to that. Okay? So a lot of people listen to what other people say. They take that stuff on. Someone could say the name of your business is stupid, and they would be like, gosh, the name of my business is stupid. I'm going to hide. I'm not lying. That is not even an exaggeration. I know people who do it. I've watched them do it. I'm like, why aren't you doing this thing anymore? Well, oh, I feel like there's something. And then you listen and you talk and you get them to reveal, and it was some criticism that came from a troll, that came from a nobody, and they are hiding. I've got a dear friend. She won't she won't even go on social media because of people's, oh, it's just the things that people say. Stop. Stop listening. Stop reading. Stop paying attention to the people who don't deserve your attention or your focus. So, in my opinion, perfectionism in your business is about protecting your identity. It's not really about protecting your work or protecting the public from you. That's not what it's really about. So, working harder on your stuff is not going to make it get any better, and it's not going to make you feel any better. Because if you're not actually working on the thing that bothers you, which is you, you're not really actually doing the work. So, in my opinion, it can only be resolved by addressing the belief that makes imperfection feel like a threat rather than what's normal, right? So this is imperfect. You did something wrong. You're not perfect. Therefore, you are wrong. Like you can't be. That's a problem. All right. Welcome to the Spiritual Business Hour with Crystal Lynn Bell. My name is Crystal Lynn Bell. I'm a spiritual business mentor, and I guide women through the very loving resilience building process of building a coaching business that is grounded in your unique philosophy, built from your hard earned wisdom, and designed to bring you lavish, sustainable income. So, welcome. I come here, I'm live Monday through Friday from at 2 o'clock. And I might be here for 20 minutes, or I might be here for 40, or something in between. You are welcome to come in, join me here. Please share this episode. If you're watching an episode, share it. If you're watching one of my shorts, share it. Leave a comment, leave a reaction. I love all that stuff. Please. So today I'm talking about perfectionism. And I want to say that perfectionism is not a character flaw that you need to overcome. Girl, you need to overcome that character flaw. But instead, I want you to see it as misdirected excellence. For me, I always work toward excellence. Rarely do I work toward perfection, but let's be honest, my standards are very low. They're not very low, like they're higher than most people's standards, but I'm also very well trained. So for me, I've been doing this for 20 years and I realize that I've learned a lot. So I've learned a lot. So when I show up to something, I'm bringing quite a bit to it. All right. So that's just my kind of little, that's my disclaimer. You know, if you're a newer coach, you might have to work harder to get to a level of excellence. And I don't want you to work so hard, though, that you start to do what I said earlier, which is you don't ever start or you don't move beyond where you are. So the energy that makes you exceptional in your work, that is a form of perfectionism. But when it is taken to a degree that stops you and makes you mad or makes you sad or makes you scared, that's when it's misdirected and that's when you need to stop. The standard of quality that a perfectionist coach brings to what she does is an asset, right? So your perfectionistic tendencies is an asset. Your attention to detail, your commitment to depth, and your refusal to deliver anything that does not fully serve the person receiving it. These are great qualities, and you deserve to be commended for those things. Okay. That's what gives a client great results. But, um, again, if it's holding you back, if it's causing you to stress out, if it's making you unable to move forward with other things, that's not about standards, my friend. That's more about perfectionism and not allowing yourself to move forward because subconsciously you're afraid. So when the standard that really belongs in the coaching room gets applied to the marketing or to the content, to your visibility, like you can't get seen, when it gets applied to your launch, like you can't move forward in your launch because everything has got to be perfect. When everything has to be perfect, that standard starts to lose its power and it becomes a burden around your neck. It's a monkey on your back, and it's called perfectionism. So I'm going to give you 5 ways to use that perfectionism. I want you to turn it into profit. So number 1, I want you to use your standard of excellence to build an offer that is extraordinary. Now, in your coaching business, you have your kind of flagship offer or your signature offer. I want you to pour all that energy into making it perfect. Not perfect, excellent. All right? Excellent. But here's the thing, like, when does that stop? So, what I want you to understand is that you can roll things out in stages. And you can, for example, start with a more broad program, or you can start with an outline, and you can actually start working just from your outline. So let's say that you want to build a program, and by the time you're done with it, you need to charge $10,000 for that program. Rather than trying to sit down and get it perfect before you bring it out, why not either break it down into 5 different pieces or create the whole program, teach an overview for a cheaper price, right? So maybe what you're going to do is just do the mindset, behind each of the sections. And then while in the meantime, while you're working on the mindset with people, you can be in the background building out the step by step, whatever it is, the mechanics of it, right? So that you have a um, the shell is done, you're moving it forward, you got people in it, you're learning more, which is what you need. Okay. Here's the thing that perfectionists forget. You actually need to be criticized so that you can make something better. If you don't get any criticism, you're not going to make it better, right? So I told you earlier that I don't listen to criticism. I do listen to criticism. I listen to criticism all the time from my people because after every single one of our modules, there is a feedback form that is a part of the homework that my students do. And that feedback is what did not work in this program for you, in this chapter for you? Uh, how could it have been better? You know, how was the text on here? Were you able to read it? Was it too much? And do you know what I do? I sit down and I look at everything with a matter of fact attitude. This is just a matter of fact. A person says the type style was too small. There were too many words on a page. I'm not going to look at that and be like, "Oh, she criticized my page." No, what I'm going to do is say, "Okay, how can I make the text less on this page and still get it to do what I need it to do?" Right? I'm going to detach. So, what I'm going to suggest for number one is that you actually create something extraordinary, but don't do it from like this place of it must be perfect before I release it. Okay. Instead, make it, let me just put it out here as best as I can. All right. Here's my second tip. Number two, I want you to use your eye for detail to create a client experience that generates really great referrals without you having to ask. Okay. In other words, I want you to create something that really focuses on the client. Now, if you are truly focusing on that client, you know what? You have to get it out there and you need to get it out there quick. So put a timeline on that thing. Okay. Put a timeline on it and make sure that you follow through. I don't know. If I were going to do let's say that I was going to put together, let's say that I was going to put together a survey. Okay. This, a self-assessment for a client. And this self-assessment is going to be for them to be able to assess whether they are going through a midlife crisis. Okay. How long would that really take me? Me, 3 days. Everything I do must be done in 3 days. It's my own system. It's my ability to focus. So for me, 3 days. If it's going to take more than 3 days, it's likely not going to get done. So I work intensely. So what I would do is number one, say, Crystal Lynn, you have 3 days to get this done. And then I'd break it down into how I'm going to use those 3 days. I can get this, that, and the other done. Uh, I can do this in one day, I can do this in another day, and I can do this in another day. And then that's it. When the 3 days are up, I look at where I am, and then I'm ready to put it out. And sometimes you all have seen it. You've seen stuff that is not broken, but just a little off. That is because I launch when I say I'm going to launch. It is important that it gets out there. I do find myself going back to fix things, double checking things, correcting things. But you know what? It's done. 3 days to get it out, one day to make the corrections, and then I can start really amping up my marketing for it or amping up what I'm offering or how I'm putting it out there to people. So absolutely yes, I do put things out. They are imperfect, and then I work on them while they are out there. I have to admit that sometimes I do cringe because of my mistakes, okay? But what I've learned is that number one, I am phenomenal at getting things done. My clients acknowledge it, my students acknowledge it, my even my team acknowledges it. My team, Team Badass Butterfly, we be getting stuff out there. Thank God I've gotten this experience so I can help other people with this. So, going back to the point, number two is to focus on that client experience. So, what I think is that because of your attention to detail, your anticipation of the needs of your clients, and the care that you would put into every touch point, that would create an experience that is excellent. Like focusing on the welcome sequence, focusing on the follow-up, focusing on, the resources that help to support them. This is perfectionism in its most profitable form. And you can do that. So, a client who has been served by a perfectionistic coach is someone who comes back and she refers. So, in this way, you're putting your perfectionism to work. I was just talking to my aunt about getting my hair braided, so I'm ready to shift from this hairstyle into a braided style. And I was running into some issues because I have to admit, when it comes to my hair, there is a little bit of a perfectionist in me. I don't like it when my hair doesn't do what I want my hair to do. Doesn't matter if you like my hair or not. If I want my hair to be doing what I want it to do, and if it's not, it does create some stuff. I have a little wounding inside. And getting my hair braided is actually a process that is number one, painful for me because I'm tender-headed, but also it's long and tedious. The long braids that I love can take 12 to 14 hours to braid. And so if I'm sitting in a chair for 14 hours, when I come out of that chair, I want to look, I want to look like, I don't know, I want to say Claudette. I want to look like Pam Grier, okay? I want to look perfect. I do. When I get my hair braided, I want those braids to be snatched, okay? And in so many instances, I've not had great braiders. In my traveling around the world, having to adapt to different cultures, um, different cultures braid hair differently. They have a different aesthetic, they have a different value, they have a different quality issue. Like it's all sorts of stuff. So when you're traveling, you're in Croatia. When you're in Italy, you're in France, you're in the United States, you know, where are you going to get your hair braided? You find yourself having to deal with what's there, and communication is different. Uh, you may not speak Croatian, so you got to communicate stuff visually. People don't necessarily see things the same way. Okay. So my aunt was like, "Oh, where are you going to get your hair braided? Who are you going to choose?" And I started going down this rabbit hole of, remembering all the times I got my hair braided and I hated it. Sat in that chair for hours only to discover that I hated the way that I looked. And I spent a lot of money, I spent a lot of time. I got to walk around looking like somebody I don't want to look like for weeks, or months even. So, uh, this is the issue. And I was thinking back to times when I had my hair braided by people that I loved. Uh, my favorite braiders are Libras and Sagittarians. Why? Because they're next in the list of perfectionists. Libras, when they braid your hair, they are braiding your hair. They are not looking at that. They are not over there. They are not on the phone. They are braiding your hair and they are paying attention and they are consistent. There is the same consistent pull when they're doing each braid. Even 15 hours later, they are doing the same, doing it with consistency. So I found someone here in Long Beach at the Black Sheep Salon over on Willow, and I'm going to check them out. My braider's name is Tamara, so I'm going to go over and meet Tamara, and that's going to be really fun. I hope Tamara is not seeing this episode because she's going to be like, don't expect me to be a perfectionist. And I'm going to, because I don't want to put that pressure on her. I'm using my heart to help me find someone, and Tamara has really great energy. So I think I've made a great choice. And she listened so well when I was telling her about like how I want my hair and what my kind of my qualifications are, my standards are, and what I'm looking for. She didn't get all upset, so I think we're going to be just fine. Anyway, I look, it, it shows up in different ways, okay? I'm not perfect. I do have my issues. Anyway, the point is when you find somebody that you like, you refer other people to them. Like already, I'm giving Tamara a shout out. Your clients will do the same thing for you when you give them that really great client experience. All right, so we have 5 things. We're at number 3 right now. So, number 3 is to use your commitment to depth to build intellectual property that compounds. Okay. Here's the thing that's important for you if you are a perfectionist. You need to have your work get out and then compound. Perfectionistic coaches go deeper than other people. They think longer about the problems that they're solving. They read more broadly about their subject. They kind of bring in more perspectives. They're perfectionists. They want it perfect, so they're doing all the things to make it perfect. So they arrive at their insights, with more nuance, with more they show up with more. That's why you kind of want a perfectionist braiding your hair, but also working on your team. Okay. Now, that depth that they create, that you can create, if you're a perfectionist, when you create something, you need to make it real. Don't just keep it in your head. Bring that depth to intellectual property. And that is going to be the thing that you can offer for premium pricing. It's going to build you real authority and it's going to help you develop a really good reputation. And even if you're being inconsistent in your posting, when you hit, you're going to hit really hard. So use your perfectionism to go deeper into your methodology and document what you find, okay? Put a name to it and build it into the architecture of your business and like build a great body of work that can only be produced by somebody like you. Now, I am not trying to toot my own horn right here. But honestly, one of the things that I do pride myself on is going deep, making things. I pride myself on paying attention to detail. I pride myself on having thought through things roundly, wholly, understanding my clients' perspectives. So when you come into my program, you come into my container, especially as a paid client, you are going to get beautiful workbooks that go into detail and guide you through. You're going to get MP3s. You're going to get things that you can use in different ways. Your MP3s are going to be downloadable so you can take them on the road. I'm not going to just stick something up there and then walk away and expect you to figure out how to use it. I've been in containers like that. I don't like that. I learned from those containers and I bring that learning into my containers so that my containers are perfect. They're far from perfect, but they're really damned good. And there's a lot of heart. People say, Crystal Lynn, I can see you've put a lot into this. Damn right I have. I care. So that's what I'm suggesting. You make sure that you give people what they need, but you also build your own intellectual property. My certification program has 374 lessons in it. That's me. I have an idea. I create the form. I create the module. I put it out there. Organize it. Got to organize it. Can't just load it up there and expect your students to organize it themselves. But I didn't start out and say, I'm going to build 374 lessons. I started out and I said, I'm going to do these 5 things. And then, like I said, the 5 broad things, I did those first. And then I had some energy over here in this area. I focused on that. I got that done. Then I went over to this area, focused on that. And the next thing I know, everything was building out, but I had the shell that was there and the program, people were already going through it. All right. All right. Let's get into number 4. So use your fear of making mistakes to build the systems that prevent them from being made. So that's the beauty of being a perfectionist right there. You don't like making mistakes. Very good. Build the system so that other people will learn how to not make mistakes as well. Okay, that is a great use of your time. So I think that instead of like using fear to delay your publishing of content, use it to build like the operational systems that make sure that your client doesn't fail. In other words, use your resistant to failing to help other people not have to resist failing. You create the system so that they don't have to fail. That's what I do for sure, for different reasons, but that's what I do. I love systems. And when I create a system, I think about how would somebody fail within this system? And then I go and I correct that. And the people who have gone through the system and given me the feedback, they've given me their perspective on how they could have failed or where things were difficult. I go in there and then I get it fixed. So again, don't put off putting your things out there, put it out there and make sure that you correct and learn as you go. All right, here's I think this is, did I do 4? I think I'm on number 5 right now. So number 5 is to use your courage. Use your courage to put something that's imperfect out there every single day. Do something imperfect every single day. I know this is hard for people. Like that's that would be like telling a woman who wears a wig to take her wig off on camera and just be like sitting there. That's the level of fear that somebody who's an imperfectionist feels when you ask them to be imperfect in public. But here's the thing. Number 1, I'm not asking you to sell your soul. I'm just asking you to do something that's imperfect. So publish something before it's imperfect. Go live before you feel ready. I just saw my friend Evie Diaz, and she was like, it was just before I was coming on here, I was just going to send her a message, and I saw that she was on, like, doing a live stream. And I caught her right at the moment when she says, you know what? I've tried going live. I'm just going to put myself out there live. And I got the sense from her in that moment that she was in that just do it mode. I'm not going to think. I'm just gonna do it, and whatever comes out is going to come out. And you know what? She looked great. She looked great. And she's an intelligent woman. I'm sure she had plenty of people watching her and cheering her on. So that's what I want you to do. Just 30 days of imperfection. Put something out there, a post, send an email, send a message. Doesn't have to be perfect, okay? And the muscle of kind of just getting it done, build that up, right? The muscle of tolerating the discomfort of imperfection in public, right? Doing that over and over again for 30 days, that's going to help you, right? That's going to help you. That's going to help you feel better. All right, my friends, that's all I have to say for the day. I'm all done. How are you doing? Have you left me a comment? If you are watching and you're not commenting, I'm going to say, hey, thanks for watching. And at the same time, leave a comment, share, give a reaction. Please, it is so helpful for me. And when you watch and you don't react and you don't comment, you're not giving me any feedback to help me know that you enjoy what you're receiving. All right, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now, my friend. Mwah. Bye.